Hey, what's going on, you guys? And welcome back to Bitcoin Well Covered. Yo, so look, just to get straight into it, right? One of the biggest things that I keep hearing over and over again is Bitcoin crypto. Bitcoin is crypto. Bitcoin is crypto. Crypto is Bitcoin. Bitcoin and crypto, right? Pause. Let's straighten this out right now, okay? So, first of all, in a sense, Bitcoin is not crypto. Now, I know somebody right now is about to boo me and be like, how? Why? How is it not? Right? Prove it. Proof of work. Pause. Okay? We're going to do that. So, what I really want to get across is Bitcoin is not crypto. Okay? And I'm about to tell you why. So, Bitcoin is like the grandmother of cryptocurrencies. Okay? It's like the great grandmother. It's actually like the ancestor right now, to be honest. Right? But it could actually just be like that cousin, but I'm gonna say it's the grandma, okay? So basically, every cryptocurrency that you see out right now, no matter what it is, was a pretty much a fork, pretty much like a deviation, a copy of Bitcoin. Okay? What happened is that Bitcoin is open source, right? This is a thing in this side of technologies where there are a lot of open source technologies. And so when Bitcoin came out, a lot of people were interested, everybody caught on and they realized, but how can we run applications? And so here you go with Ethereum and XRPs and Litecoins and they're creating actual computers, what they call EVMs, right? Ethereum virtual machine, okay? And this is practically where you can create the smart contracts and applications to actually run on the blockchain, right? So you still have the features of Bitcoin with the blockchain and all of that type of stuff, but it's now token based. Like it's a whole nother ecosystem. It's a whole nother thing, right? So this is what separated Bitcoin from crypto. Everything that came after that was a deviation of the original coin, right? So that's why in 2017 or even before then, but really like when I came in 2017, it was like this really big IPO boom or ICO boom. It was still difficult to buy crypto or Bitcoin, okay, on the exchanges because I heard about Bitcoin in 2009, but I was just like, how do you do this? Even I still didn't get the whole idea of peer to peer. Like I got the idea, but it just seemed like, dang, so I gotta like come on here and buy a coin from somebody, which is fine. I don't mind that. It's kind of like going on It was kind of like going on Craigslist and literally finding someone that said, hey, I got this much, I'm selling this much, or you go on there and say, I need this much, and people on there anonymously, and you just buy from them. And that's literally the point. It's peer-to-peer cash, electronic cash, or digital gold in a sense. And so from there, at that time, these ICOs were spinning out all these coins. You had like all type of coins. That's why everybody call them shit coins now, because they go up, right? This is how, unfortunately, this is how the DeFi market works. Okay, it operates off of hype. It operates off of trading, the same way as the stock market, but mostly hype, right? People promoting a coin. Okay, that's a derivative or a deviation or a copy of what Bitcoin is, but with its own twist. People took advantage of this, and this is how you ended up having so many people losing money over time because they locked into things that they truly did not understand, right? So that's why even you know Bitcoin. So let me explain what Bitcoin is not. It's not a scam. It's not someone coming in your DM. Okay, let's set the record straight here. It's not a scam. It's not somebody coming in your DM saying, "Hey, man, you need to go ahead and invest in that crypto Bitcoin or that Bitcoin crypto," right? It's not none of those things. Not even Bitcoin, right? It's not somebody saying, "Hey, send me your Cash App and I'll send you Bitcoin." I mean, people do that. Honestly, they do under their actual accounts. But what I'm saying is, right, the whole thing is trust no one, just trust the code. And the reason why you're trusting the code is because it's literally something you can build upon, and you can literally go in there yourself. Now applications are so much better. That's why you have Coinbase. That's why you have River. That's why you have Strike. That's why you have so many wallets that Albi, um, Cashew. It's just so many wallets, right? That offer the service of being able to exchange money and buy them on these exchanges, right? So instead of you having to necessarily like do the P2P thing and, kind of do your transaction that way, you can just go on an exchange. The problem with exchanges is that it's something where it still puts you back in that phase of needing a middleman, needing someone to do something for you, hold something for you, protect you. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but it does give you better access to make these purchases, to trade crypto or Bitcoin, to even do stable coins, right? So I'm gonna pause it right there and we're going back into Bitcoin versus crypto. So dealing with uh, Bitcoin versus crypto, or why Bitcoin is not crypto. So crypto involves your XRPs, your Ethereums, your Litecoins, your Hyperliquids, your anything that's token based or may have coin at the end, um, stable coins. Okay, definitely stable coins. Okay. And a lot of these things, the point of Bitcoin was decentralization. Decentralization meaning that no one controls this, right? The people have the power to create their own infrastructure around their own money, right? It's kind of like cleaning money in a way, like cleaning the dirty money. And we know what the dirty money is. It's fiat, okay? Right? It's the same money that we always are using ourselves, and then we turn around and ask, what are you using our taxes for? And then on the news, they're telling you they just sent $500 trillion to the war against Hamas, okay, to help Israel, right? And yeah, I mean, I get why we necessarily don't see the connection there, maybe, or maybe we do, but we have a financial remedy, a financial protocol. If you saw the short that I did, I got into that. But we have a financial remedy, a financial protocol, and money evolves, right? So, Bitcoin versus crypto. Bitcoin is meant for decentralization. It's for the people to participate with each other, create their own economies, and do business directly without having to go through a person, right? Crypto is the same thing. You can do the same thing. It's still decentralization of money. But what is happening is there's more centralization happening because what they're doing within this new financial reset is they're pouring all of their assets, all of their money, the debts and everything into stable coins or in the tokenization part that you keep hearing. If you listen to any financial outlets, if you're online, on social media, especially on X, or just listening to any financial updates in general. And you might just cross a conversation or something. But tokenization is kind of like a centralized thing, right? Where, in a way, not all the way, but the way that the government is doing it and other governments, right? And some companies or whatever, but we're just going to stick to governments and countries. The way they're doing it is actually adding their debts, adding their money, and instead of dealing with the debt of fiat, they're like, well, if we take this fiat and we turn it into a digital stablecoin and regulate it, then people can just deal with digital dollars, right? That's still centralized because you still have someone controlling your money, telling you what to do, telling you how to spend it, telling you how to transact, your whether it's your bank, whether it's the government, whether it's any third party, right? Versus directly with Bitcoin. And there are some other coins that might still be like autonomous in a way where it's still, strictly P2P, peer to peer. But we're just going to stick with Bitcoin right now, okay? Because it took me this long, from 2017 to now, to understand the reason why you have Bitcoiners, you have what they call Bitcoin maxis. And people are like this around a lot of stuff in life, period. You get your team, right? But this is different, right? This is, like I said, a financial remedy. It's the original, right? Before Bitcoin, there was something called eCash, right? And so eCash was private, digital way for people to pay each other, right? And it's still alive and running on Bitcoin, okay? And so crypto, again, is still dealing with regulations. It's still dealing with, that's why they're talking about the Clarity Act. That's why they're talking about all these different things now. That's why you see Robinhood and, all these different gambling sites and, crypto trading now, these ETFs, and we'll get into that. We see these ETFs popping up where they're tokenizing and investing in certain tokens and they're holding them, right? So that people can invest in their ETFs on the stock exchanges. And to be honest, that's a whole nother psyop in itself to me now that I know, okay? So the difference is there's more centralization. Still, people still want to put their hands on your money. People still want to control what your money is doing, what you're investing in, how you're doing it. They still want to lure you over and say, you don't need to learn about that. You don't even need to take the time to learn about how you can make your own transactions, how you can create your own bank, how you can be sovereign in your money, how you can use this financial remedy, right? But luckily, there are people all over the world, right? There are people all over the world. I see it every day where they're creating their own economies, where they're transacting with each other directly in what they call sats, which is like pennies to the dollar or like coins for Bitcoin, right? But people are transacting with each other in small transactions and big transactions every day on different networks using Bitcoin. And so I just wanted to kind of bring that forward. And if for some reason you still don't understand, Bitcoin is the grandmother, right? Or the great grandmother, the original, okay? It was meant for people to control their own money. It was a financial remedy during the 2008 financial collapse. And it was created as a protocol, open source, so that people could create their own financial infrastructure. We haven't even got into mining. We haven't even got into the nodes. And nodes are pretty much everyday people, every walk of life, all over the world. Look at El Salvador. Look at, a lot of countries in Africa, just all over the world. People who have experienced what it's like for their money to collapse completely, they get it. They get it. They get it. Okay? When you've had that experience before, you know that you can use anything, right, for money. But when you really have people building and really trying to change their community and really find something that they can get behind, okay, and there's nobody controlling it, again, It's a contribution that you make to it, either by building on it, by talking about it, by educating about it, right? And you can the sky is unlimited, okay, when it comes to what can be done. So on that note, we have that crypto. It still has all type of ways that you can do things. You can create smart contracts. You can, tokenize. You can just do an array. You can trade. You can do all these things. You can trade with Bitcoin too on the stock exchange. You can do all of these things. It's decentralized in a way, but mostly it's centralized. It's still somebody somewhere like trying to control your dollar, trying to control your transaction. Okay. And it may not seem like it, but it is. Okay. And so, especially with stable coins, right? Like a lot of tech people, when someone tells them to pay in stable coins, they're like, not so much. Now, people from like other countries and stuff, it's easy for them to like kind of jump into paying with stable coins because they need to get paid. Say somebody in Guatemala or Africa, like in the country, like in Nigeria or in Ghana, right? They need to get paid. And it's an American company or it's any company. And they're like, hey, how do you want to get paid? You can just pay me in stable coins or you can pay me in Bitcoin, right? Either or. Most people would probably choose Bitcoin, but some people would probably choose stable coins because it still represents the dollar. So it can still be used somewhere, right? But again, stable coins are being regulated, which means, again, someone can still stop, your cash flow. Depending on how the transaction works. It is a really big ecosystem. And all I'm saying is in this financial reset, it is a financial reset for a reason, right? It's not just looking at the stocks and the financial system and saying, wow, what are they? Well, they're doing all these things or all these movements, all this stuff, these wars going on, all of this stuff, like just looking at it and just thinking that it's a play going on. Because I mean it's a big play. But we're all a part of it. And once we kind of actually realize that, then we can actually kind of open up to a whole nother dimension of our reality to say, hey, well, what are our options here? What is available in this new world, right? As humans, we evolve. Our money should evolve too, and it has over the years. If you want to like do some research, you can look, purchase the book Bitcoin Standard, right? Or you can listen to it as an audiobook. It gives a great overview of like the origination of money, fiat, which is cash, and why Bitcoin is like the true next standard of where we are heading, with people being in control of their own financial sovereignty. So, yeah, that's that part. Like, there's a lot more to explain, but I'm going to keep it easy and right there because micro bits of this information will be great because you can do your own research. You do not have to rely on just my word. You can do your own research. You can also, I'll attach the Bitcoin white paper, right? Which pretty much goes into detail about what Bitcoin is. And it mentions incentives. It's created so nobody can kind of like run off with people's money. Nobody can front run a person or the people who are running nodes or mining or just transactions. Like there's if anybody tries to do harm in any way or get over, right, then they'll probably end up paying more And it would take a lot of energy. It would take a lot of it would take a lot. Okay. So I'll get into more later. It's a lot of information and it's helpful information. It's great information and we need it. And I'm not saying that in a fearful way. I'm not going to put up, a lightning bolt on the YouTube thumbnail, whatnot, and be like, red or blue pill, you choose. But I mean, we are kind of there. But it's a slow roll, just like everything. We've transitioned as human beings, we've transitioned into a lot of things without even realizing we have. Look at cell phones. Look at all the technology we use, right? We've just literally went straight into it. We're not, but this may be a little different because it's dealing with our money, which is why we're starting here, education. So again, do your own research. I'll put the link to the Bitcoin white paper below, and we definitely have more coming in. All right, peace.